the wave. I'm yours. Yeah. Well, open up your mind.
Okay, good. Hello. I don't have a level. No, it was level before you started messing with it. Chip's destroying all of my belongings.
Who touching her stuff?
What'd you say?
I say, who's touching her stuff?
Chip is. He just like took apart my whole little standing desk.
Of course. Look who I see, like a dum-dum, just swiping his hand across the. Oh my God! Of course, it got to be Nate. It has to be Nate. It has to. Of course it is.
You're having smack talk about you and you don't even know it. Corey's talking smack about you and you didn't even hear it.
Corey's smart.
Like a dum-dum, he said.
See, I was gonna be nice, Corey, and give you a ride to school, but now I don't know you.
Stay home.
I don't even know you.
You might submit, don't forget, you look stupid. Stupid.
I don't even know.
I think that's
Yeah, it's
pretty
going.
flat-ish.
Pretty flattish. Let me put my laptop on it and see if it's doable. It's doable. Yeah. Oh, I guess I need to get. Even though I don't want to. No. Also, that's like a weird view of me. No. These children.
Can I sit here? You're gonna be there.
Yes, you can sit there.
Yeah.
Okay. Ian is here. Corey is here. No Christian. No Brendan. No Hayward. Where is everybody? Troy's here, of course. Hmm?
I was vibing in the Ritz car.
Nate is here. Chip is here. Sterling is here. And Andarius is here. I suppose we should give the others a minute and see if they show up. But they are about to be late. I'm supposed to take attendance within the first. You know what you also did? You locked the freaking wheel.
I did not do that.
It happens accidentally all the time.
I did not lock the wheel. That's why it wasn't rolling.
On
Though. I was
purpose.
having a really hard time figuring out why it was rolling when I got to it.
That's why.
Because somebody else that isn't me locked the wheel.
Here you go. This is Corey.
Oh. Corey.
What did Corey do to you?
That's the picture that Nate has drawn of you.
I'm grateful. I give you a hairline. Some other people didn't get a hair. David didn't get a hairline.
But hey,
Give you a
Yeah,
hairline.
no, David didn't. It was just like a thing on top. James's as well.
then you made it slanted too. You did him dirty.
Oh, wait.
Christian
How did you
and Brendan
you lied?
and Hayward.
There it is.
Oh gosh, I was supposed to talk to y'all about something.
You lied.
Senior projects.
What was it? No.
Which, by the way, some of you guys didn't turn in nothing.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Oh, I messed up.
Oh no. Oh, here comes Brendan. Okay.
Free man?
We only barely turned in something. That's
It'd be
not
funny
gonna
if
work, I
like
don't think.
half the seniors don't even get the water graduation. That'd be so.
You
sad.
late, Brendan.
I'd be so upset.
That'd be so disappointing.
It would be
Like,
kind of funny.
And our
though.
senior class doesn't even have that many people there. It's like what? Like, not even 20?
It's 22.
22?
If we
Yeah.
all unsubmit our senior projects, they can't just have a senior class that nobody walks at. That's no.
Yeah, if we can literally boycott that whole thing. We could boycott. Like,
Don't boycott it.
nobody does it. What they
planning
gonna-
into
they just
this.
not gonna have a graduation? Like what?
The last year's class was so upset that they didn't get to have an actual graduation. You guys should be.
We're gonna get our actual graduation. We're just going to get it through extortion instead of like
That's
Yeah,
no.
doing a little bit of work.
that would be funny. I sent mine to Miss Darling at 5:00 this morning. I woke up out of nowhere. I'm like, I ain't submit that project. My heart dropped. So I immediately sent it to her. And she saw it this morning. She said, thanks, Corey. Got it.
Okay, so I guess she's being like kind of.
Yeah, she's
A
like
little
she
bit
just, if you try, if she tells you can try, she's not gonna not look at it.
Yeah,
If she looks at the video, she's gonna look at your project if you send it to her.
yeah.
And tells that you tried, she'll give you some leeway.
Let's just all look at our project instead of reading.
That would be some mean stuff if she just didn't look at the project even though you sent it. At least look
Yeah,
at
if she was just like, you guys didn't turn it in, so you don't get to walk, and also I don't care.
it. Like you can't just tell me that, really?
I don't care about any of the work you put into it. Is that what the K stands for?
Joe.
Is Brendan's full
Oh, is
name?
that his name? Did you write his name?
Brendan
Oh
Joe.
no, that's Brendan.
I thought we were
JFK. Yeah, this is kinda crazy. What does the K stand for?
Kyrie.
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 He does not look like no Kyrie. Oh my god.
He looks like a
Brendan.
dentist.
A dentist.
Yo, that's no cap. He do.
If you put on his glasses,
Dennis is a tall person name.
Dennis Freeman. Dennis Freeman sounds like a lawyer with 2 stepkids.
I have that same motive. Of course you do. Of course we do. Of course we do. Yeah.
Hilarious.
Every time I see one of those commercials, I'm like, ready
I don't remember what it was for, but there was, it was for a lawyer, like some law settlement or something when I was a kid, and I recorded it because I thought it was so funny.
Right, is he
It was
writing
like,
the
I don't remember what they said, but at the end, there was a lion. And I'm not lying.
Don't Kyrie.
Kills me.
Right.
I saw the bigger one.
Annoying.
Nate.
I don't need all that. That's a little too big.
Come on, boy, you know I in there.
You got that big Aki thing. You can't carry that around. I can kind of carry this around.
That's what I'm saying.
First, middle, or last.
That's just too big.
You know why? Like,
You can't hold it like this, like how I can.
Haven't played around with it that much.
you can speak.
He said he can't.
Big forehead, the opposite of bald self don't want to speak.
I wish your damn thing.
Brittany, you gotta keep your mic muted. You're the type of person that have to have your mic muted 24/7. Okay, you're one of those.
Yes.
Brendan's type person do what?
I just got
On mute 24/7.
yeah, if you guys didn't turn in your chapter 6 through 10 notes, which I know some of you did not, you can still get 90% of it today. I see that.
You should get 70%.
90%.
I heard it.
Hard to hear through the mask. You don't know that.
Bro, have you seen those pranks where people would say the weirdest things and then they would take their mask off and they would make it sound like it was normal?
Just talk about.
That's just funny.
I have not seen that. It's so weird that like some of us haven't even seen people without masks. Like yesterday, one of the other teachers, Miss Cook, she forgot to put on her mask before she walked out in the hallway, and Miss Darling was like, "Oh my God, I've never seen your mouth before. You look so different."
Oh wow.
That's a real thing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna lose it with you.
Glitter hand sanitizer.
It's glitter hand sanitizer. I
Who
told you it was
does
glitter hand
this?
sanitizer. And then you put it in your hand and was like,
This
"Whoa,
is
glitter. Why do I have glitter on my hand?"
Glitter hand sanitizer.
I like it. It smells good and it's pretty.
And it's free.
There's no logic behind this. He's like, "Why do I have it? Why am I glittery? What would happen if I put this on my head? Like your head would be glittery. That's all that would happen." You're awful. Ugh.
You all have stinky hands.
And you all have stinky hands because you're not using. It is coconut macaroni.
Absolutely.
Okay. It's not even glittery enough to where like you can't see.
Start spreading the lie.
That's like y'all are like elementary school kids today.
This is probably.
You know, I had this like sugared lemon body
I'm
scrub.
just feeding. I'm feeding off of Nate's energy. That's all I'm feeding off of. The energy Nate got right now. That's what's making me smile. I'm feeding off his energy.
Oh. Okay, I'll make a deal with you guys.
Start spreading those
If-
rumors around.
We're gonna like recap chapters 12 and 13, and then we can look at some senior projects if y'all will read more over the weekend.
Glad this is recording.
So,
Well, then Monday.
We're gonna play this at your graduation, Nate.
Start
I don't do
lie.
anything. No, I do school like business hours.
All right, then we're reading today. Then we're reading
That's
today.
fine.
Once I graduate, I'll disappear.
I mean, yeah. What are you doing after you graduate?
I'm going on a nice little vacation.
Mm-hmm.
Come back to
Well,
this
you're not
stupid
even
state.
What?
Yeah, I want. I want to. I'm going. I want to see if I can go.
Oh yeah.
State slash city,
Well,
pack my stuff and go.
I haven't decided what I'm gonna be when I
If you
grow up.
need to choose a different country, which country would you go to if pre-COVID?
Teacher, some teachers make me so mad. I just want to get a brick and just chop it in their head.
It's recording. Don't say any names. I could guess at least one, but I won't.
Mr. Cheek almost gave me a refer because I decided to do work.
What? What?
Wait, what happened, Nate? Nate, you got to tell this whole story, bro.
Mr. Geesa's class is so easy. I did everything. Like I supposed to come Monday and Friday.
The D's.
So I was like, you know what?
I wish more people would start calling him
The geese.
the D's.
I like it.
Like as soon
But I
as
mean,
heard
like,
his
what did
name
he-
was Mr. Deason, I was
When I
like,
catch
What did he
"Oh,
think
that's
you
our
were
calling
doing?
I was those. Well, he can look at what you do on the computer. Like kids watching YouTube.
him."
I was watching YouTube too. I did not care
But like, why did he always write you up?
because I'm doing work during this supposed class.
Oh.
Boy, when I see him, I got a car now.
All this violence today.
Like, okay, probably least favorite.
You can see.
He's like not even your teacher though.
Yeah,
Yeah,
get mad.
exactly. That is my point precisely.
Wait, you said cheek or geese?
Cheek.
Okay.
Yeah, like, Deason's unoffensive.
Yeah, Jesus.
I remember when I first met Mr. Kevin, and he was being rude to Corey, and I was like dealing with all the disrespect.
Kevin
Like-
Patton?
Yes, he was being rude. Like this one, like I was like,
Yeah, he did say something slick to me.
the old name, like the old.
I can't. Like he's so nice.
And I was like, you're not even a real.
But now that's because he knows us. But like when he first, he said some. He was slick. He was slick.
I caught on, right? I was like, you're not even a real teacher. I don't even know why you did.
Was he just like trying to lay down the law and be kind of like
I
show
can't-
an authority?
And then
I think he tried to butt in. He tried to butt in with another conversation. He was like, just like stop talking or something. And like he was slick with it. Like he was like, do you even know what's going on? Like he was like slick. He said, and then they said, I don't know why you even talking. You're not even a real teacher.
Christian, I'm sorry, you just got here and you're probably like, why is this class not doing anything?
Not-
Like
not-
everybody's been really entertaining me so far, so I just haven't made a start.
Well, okay, so Kevin Cheek, all right.
All right.
Any class that I have that he subs for,
I just be looking
it's
like,
like somebody died. It's ridiculous.
By the way, guys,
I had him subbing in for, and Nate was there too, I think, for Stover's
some-
class.
yeah.
Stover's class. Yeah, he comes in and he's like, here's the work you need to do this work. Don't do any other work. There's always something to do as a student. Was
Yeah.
another thing that he says all the time.
yeah.
And so I finished the assignment yesterday. So I'm just sitting there staring at my computer screen. I just tried to find like a GIF of something loading
Yeah.
because I know he can look
Look,
at my
yeah.
computer screen. I was
He
just
can, yeah.
looking for a GIF of something of like the spinning so that
Like it's fine. This is maybe not a good time to tell you guys he's gonna be me on Tuesday.
you lying. You lying.
You see
he's gonna
this?
be you on Tuesday. Oh well,
He's gonna.
I ain't gonna be here. I'm definitely not coming.
Well, now you know. What?
Definitely
I don't know what you're saying. I don't know.
What did you just do?
I don't even know if you're laughing or crying. I hope it's crying.
So anyway, we all get in there and we're like sitting down, staring at our computer screens. It's dead silent, like somebody died. And he waits until like the last 5 minutes of class and it's like, so does anybody care if I play some music? And we're all like, yeah, sure, you play some music. And he plays the weirdest stuff.
Yes,
Like
he does.
super unusual movie soundtrack that I haven't
Yeah.
heard of,
Don't get him started talking about movies. Jesus.
Well, he's only got like,
I was like,
bro, don't get him started talking about his favorite anything of all time. He uses that phrase way too much. Way too
Yeah.
much.
Yeah, that's very true. He'll talk about movies and like everything is a cinematic masterpiece. Like there's never a movie that's just okay. Like it's a cinematic masterpiece.
My favorite video game. My favorite song.
Don't get him
1917.
started on video games.
He starts
Stop, stop.
like that movie
I just wanna get a
1917. He
marker
wouldn't
and
shoot-
just peg him in his forehead.
Also, he let me borrow this movie that he said was the most disturbing movie he'd ever seen. And I was like, hey, I like disturbing movies. I want it to like mess with me. And it was so boring. It was a Polish war movie. And it was like 2.5 hours long. I can't remember. No. All right. Because Chip said he wouldn't read over the weekend, we're going to read today. But let me quickly.
Would you rather listen to her read right now or read by yourself on Saturday?
I mean, you still have to read some. I've made this very easy on you guys. I'm like, it's fine if you spark note stuff. You can. Do I hear happiness in here? Miss Hannigan is my role model. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of recap chapters 12 and 13, which hopefully you read, but probably not. So we left off when we were reading together the other day with him, the monster, like watching these cottagers and like hiding out in their little shelter and stuff. And he could tell that they were unhappy, but he doesn't have any language skills at all. He's telling his story, yeah, and he still is, to Victor.
Victor, who has come into his cave.
Yes, who's come into his cave. They're like hanging in a cave for a little while. Yeah. So in chapter 12, he realizes that the cottagers are poor, and that's why they're unhappy, which, like, yeah, mood. Very relatable. And to top it off, he's been stealing their food to try to like sustain himself. So he's like, oh no, I'm awful. I don't want them to be so unhappy. So he starts leaving them firewood and like little gifts and stuff, and they're just like, oh, what little spirit of the forest is leaving us goods? Yes. Is what? Spring is on its way. March 21st or 22nd, I think. Yeah.
I'm gonna not be here on Thursday and Friday following St. Patty's Day. I'm gonna go to Tennessee.
Okay. What part of Tennessee? You've told me.
East Tennessee, I think Knoxville is the one that's in the middle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's Chattanooga and whatever one is in the top right.
Okay.
And if you drew a line between those two big cities, right in the middle, it's
Okay.
a little town called Dayton, Tennessee.
Okay, cool.
So it's like an hour commute to whatever's up here. And
Yeah.
An hour commute to Chattanooga.
Okay, cool. Just curious. So he starts leaving them firewood and stuff, and then he also, this is where we start seeing like how he turned out the way he's turned out, because he's overhearing them and trying to pick up their language. He says something like, I realized that the sounds that they were uttering were how they communicate with each other. It's like, yeah, language.
Thank you.
And he like starts trying to pick it up.
Does he have a name?
No, he does not have a name. The monster is just the monster.
That's why
And I think he even calls Victor out on that later. He's like, you didn't even give me a name. Like, what are you supposed to do? So he also sees his reflection in the water for the first time and is like, oh, I'm really ugly. Especially like he watches these two, the brother and sister, Felix and Agatha. And he's like, they're so lovely and they're so pretty. And then when he sees his reflection, he's like, I'm ugly and awful.
That's how I feel.
Oh no, you're certainly not Frankenstein monster level. So he stays through the winter. You hate on yourself at Frankenstein monster level. That's unfortunate. He stays through the winter, and like spring starts approaching, which is really all he can do because he doesn't have any resources to be able to like keep himself alive through the winter. I mean, he's just a dude. I mean, we don't melt in the sun.
Well, but like he was put together and his
Yeah, that's
like,
true.
dead.
That's true. So in chapter 13, this new girl shows up, this like dark beauty. She's from somewhere else. Like you get the impression that she's like Arabic or something. And she doesn't speak English, but she's clearly there. Like it doesn't really explain how they found her or whatever, but she's there to marry Felix, and he's very happy, and everybody is a lot more happy with her there even though she can't speak English, so, or well, it's probably not English, it's probably like French or Dutch. But they start teaching her their language, and through that, the monster also learns language, and he learns about world history because this girl's marrying Felix, the cottager. And he picks up on all this stuff, and just with their interactions, he picks up a lot on what humans are. He does seem to have a massively high IQ. He picks up on stuff pretty quickly. I mean, he basically learns to speak whatever language it is in a season. So it usually takes people a lot longer. Although also it takes small children a lot less time to pick up their like native language than it takes to like learn a brand new language when you're older. And he's kind of in that situation. So maybe he would learn it more quickly. But he sort of starts to see the interactions between everybody and just like how much they care about each other. And he loves seeing that, but at the same time, it makes him feel so alone and like really brings that to light. He's like, I don't have anything like this. And it kind of makes him feel even more alone. Very sad, very sad. Okay, so we're gonna read, I can't look at that right now. We're gonna read chapter 14, or at least start it. It's not terribly long or anything, but we lost a lot of time. Let me come over here so I can plug in. Really? Well, today he said his computer died. I don't know if we should believe him. I feel like that's not a good chair for anything. I hate that chair so much. I got no place to put my arms. It's just not comfortable. Oh yeah.
See, I think it's a really comfy chair. Yeah.
I've had better.
Well, yeah.
There we go. There we go.
Oh, whose eyes is that?
That's oh well, that's Eli's eye in the middle. That's obviously my eye on
Eli's
my
eye in the
desktop. Huh?
Eli's eye is in the middle.
Yeah.
In the middle.
Yes, essentially. Okay, let me share my screen with you folks. Come on. Okay, let me get the agua. Obviously, this is still the monster talking to Victor. And this chapter, we're going to learn some of the family's background. Oh my God. What are you doing? You're hurting. Why would you do that?
Because he almost unplugged it, and I was gonna put it on the ground, so he wouldn't unplug it.
Yeah, but I have to have it.
You can smack me.
I'm gonna write everyone up.
No, only write up Troy.
Christian, yeah, you do have to buy your own cap and gown. You probably ordered one earlier in the
I
year.
ordered my cap and gown like 2 weeks ago.
You did, okay. I asked. I don't remember. I asked the company to send me a list, like just a couple days ago. I asked them to send me a list of what all seniors had ordered them in case anyone hadn't, and I haven't heard back from them. I really don't know off the top of my head. You probably did. Most people did. Mm-hmm.
Is that a whole picture?
Yes, it is.
That is
I'm gonna lose it.
pretty cool.
Okay, so I'll email parents later and send them the link to where you can buy it online, which you couldn't do at the beginning of the year. They didn't have online sales set up, but if you they've set it up now to where you can order it online, so hopefully it'll be fine. But I'll send everybody the order form, and hopefully nobody will be confused thinking, oh, I already bought it. I wish that they would just send me a list of who
Wouldn't that be nice?
And yeah, I asked like 3 days ago.
Ask her again every day until she responds.
Yeah, I need to. Okay,
That's what I did. That's how I get blocked by Craigslist
I believe you.
sellers.
Some time elapsed before I learned the history of my friends. It was one which could not fail to impress itself deeply on my mind, unfolding as it did a number of circumstances, each interesting and wonderful to one so utterly inexperienced as I was. The name of the old man was De Lacy. He was descended from a good family in France, where he had lived for many years in affluence. He was rich, respected by his superiors, and beloved by his equals. His son was bred in the service of his country, and Agatha had ranked with the ladies of the highest distinction. A few months before my arrival, they had lived in a large and luxurious city called Paris, surrounded by friends, so they probably speak French, and possessed of every enjoyment which virtue, refinement of intellect, or taste, accompanied by a moderate fortune, could afford. What in the world? I mean, I'm not, but this is what
they speak French.
well, it says they're from Paris.
That doesn't mean anything.
I just kind of figured. The father of Safi, and I guess her name is Safi. I don't really know how to pronounce that, or like if it's pronounced differently. I've never heard this name outside of this book. The father of Safi had been the cause of their ruin. He was a Turkish merchant.
I'm gonna need
Turkish.
to-
Safi?
Yeah, just
Oh.
to like, I don't know. Follow you properly.
And had inhabited Paris for many years, when for some reason which I could not learn, he became obnoxious to the government. He was seized and cast into prison the very day that Safi arrived from Constantinople to join him, which is now Budapest. He was tried and condemned to death. All of the injustice of his sentence was very flagrant. All Paris was indignant and was judged that his religion and wealth, rather than the crime alleged against him, had been the cause of his condemnation. Like how you're like shaking your head in rhythm to what I'm saying. Felix had accidentally been present at the trial. His horror and indignation were uncontrollable when he heard the decision of the court. He made at that moment a solemn vow to deliver him and then looked around for the means. After many fruitless attempts to gain admittance to the prison, he found a strongly grated window in an unguarded part of the building, which lighted the dungeon of the unfortunate. No, lighted is also correct.
Does not sound like a word.
And it's a, in fact, Ernest Hemingway has a story called A Clean, Well-Lighted Place. Wait, you guys aren't even, I didn't even realize that this had not shared the screen. Y'all are just like listening. It's very silly. I know. Can you guys hear Nate? No.
No.
Okay, they can't hear me. The Turk quickly perceived the impression that his daughter had made on the heart of Felix and endeavored to secure him more entirely in his interest by the promise of her hand in marriage so soon as he should be conveyed to a place of safety. Felix was too delicate to accept this offer. Yet he looked forward to the probability of the event as to the consummation of his happiness. So they were like, his father-in-law essentially was like he caused some kind of problem with the government, and Felix thought it was unfair. So he tried to like reach out to him, and they became friends, and he was like, oh, it'd make me really happy if you married my daughter, basically. I don't really know what all the different chords do, I'm not gonna lie. Let's not. The Turk quickly, did I say that? Yes, I did. During the ensuing days, while the preparations were going forward for the escape of the merchant, the zeal of Felix was
So
warmed
they're
by.
gonna break his stepdad out of jail?
No, they're not saying they're gonna break him out.
Oh.
Just he's gonna marry the daughter. During the ensuing days, while the preparations were going forward for the escape of the merchant, the zeal of Felix swarmed by several letters that he received from this lovely girl, who found means to express her thoughts in the language of her lover by the aid of an old man, a servant of her father, who understood French. So it is French, yeah.
Hey.
She thanked him in the most ardent terms for his intended services toward her parent, and at the same time deeply deplored her own fate. deeply deplored her own fate. Like she didn't want to marry him.
Right.
Interesting.
I wouldn't want to marry him. He probably smells
I wouldn't want to. Are you saying that because he's French?
good. No.
I have copies of these
British.
letters.
Okay.
French.
I know. But if it was British, I wouldn't want to
You'd be
marry him because
concerned.
his teeth would be bad and he would smell bad.
That's probably true. Well, at least the teeth part.
No, I'm just generalizing that era of the time.
Yeah, that's fair. I have copies of these letters, for I found during my residence in the hovel to procure the implements of writing, and the letters were often in the hands of Felix or Agatha. Before I depart, I will give them to you. They will prove the truth of my tale, but at present, as the sun is already far declined, I shall only have time to repeat the substance of them to you. So that's another. He says that he learned writing also. He copied the letters, like when he heard them reading them out loud, he copied them down and is like gonna give them to Victor so he can be like, see, everything I'm telling you is true. Steffi related that her mother was a Christian Arab, seized and made a slave by the Turks. Oh no. Recommended by her beauty, she had won the heart of the father of Steffi, who married her. The young girl spoke in high and enthusiastic terms of her mother, who, born in freedom, spumed the bondage to which she was now reduced. She instructed her daughters in the tenets of her religion and taught her to aspire to higher powers of intellect and an independence of spirit forbidden to the female followers of Muhammad. So Safi's like kind of a progressive girl. This lady died, but her lessons were indelibly impressed upon the mind of Safi, who seconded the prospect of again returning to Asia and being immured within the walls of a harem. Oh no, she would have become a prostitute if she didn't marry this guy. Yep. Allowed only to occupy herself with infantile amusements ill suited to the temper of her soul, now accustomed to grand ideas and a noble emulation for virtue. It's very sad. The prospect of marrying a Christian and remaining in a country where women were allowed to take a rank in society were enchanting to her. So even though she hadn't really wanted to marry Felix at first, she can have more of the kind of life that she wants to have. She doesn't want to go back home and become a prostitute. She wants to be able to like have more of a position in society like most of the Western world allows for women.
This is a nice picture.
That's hilarious. It's a fine picture. I didn't put it in the yearbook last year. I used an old one because several kids told me that this is my face when I'm angry.
Oh yeah.
And like and that I looked a little crazy. So I was like, well,
Sure, let's have you weigh in.
Is that the face I make when I'm angry?
Yes.
I don't know what the face you make.
They kill you all.
That's not what I do. I've
Troy, I
never,
haven't seen.
I'd never
this half of your
openly
face all
threatened.
year long. That was really refreshing.
I'd never openly threaten the life of a child.
Yes, you would.
Not openly.
Yes, you would.
Not while I'm recording.
I can kind of.
You made me mad twice.
I can kind of see what people are saying when you look like you're a little bit crazy. You do kind
Yeah.
of have like the Ted Kaczynski thing.
Oh my God.
What's up?
Because it's kind of funny to hear her yell.
It is kind of funny to hear her yell because her voice.
That's fair. And like, I've never seen you like get defiant back. Like if somebody's yelling at you, you're just kind of like, oh.
You're
Like,
talking about
you know.
vaccines for like just a second there.
What?
Did somebody say something about vaccines or am I?
No, but I'm getting vaccinated this weekend.
You are?
Woohoo!
Oh,
For
'cause you're a
COVID.
teacher. You're a teacher.
Yeah.
Did you
Or
see
get my
that
first
thing where the guy got one of those? What are those things where you put the frog in it and then you blow and you shoot the poisonous frog? Like African war.
Like I don't know what you're
No. The little tube where or you can like put a
like
rock in
a
it and
pea
blow.
shooter or whatever.
Yeah, but like a big long, not a tranquilizer. Anyway, this guy
Blow
used
dart.
a blow dart gun. thing.
Yeah.
A mandatory COVID vaccine. And it flies. It's like crazy fast out of
My goodness.
for not a lot of air. Yeah, I was
Crazy.
really impressed by how fast it was for him to be like.
Oh, I'm excited to get vaccinated. I'll feel like I can
I'm excited
travel.
to watch you turn into a zombie live
We'll see.
in front of all of us.
We'll see. My mom's already had it and she's totally fine. Mr. Jupiter's had it and he's totally fine. Like, I think it's all right.
Is he a teacher? How did
No.
he get this vaccine? He's like
Because
7
he's
years
a
old.
medical student.
He's a what?
Medical student. He's in PT school.
Oh.
PT, physical therapy.
Oh.
So they do it at not MUSC. What is it? I don't know. Whatever school he goes to.
Oh, he goes to USC, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. All right. The day for the execution of the Turk was fixed, but on the night previous to it, he quitted his prison, got out, and before morning was distant many leagues from Paris.
So did
All
he
right,
not break out?
He did break out.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he was gonna break.
Well, that's not what they were saying before, but like the night before he was supposed to be executed, he broke out.
That's cool.
Yeah. Felix had procured passports in the name of his father, sister, and himself. Okay, so
waited
he
until
did.
the last minute.
He-
So why did he do?
Passports take so long now.
No, I mean the guy breaking out of prison.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, like, oh, it takes like such a long time now. He had previously communicated his plan to the former, who had aided the deceit by quitting his house under the pretense of a journey and concealed himself with his daughter in an obscure part of Paris. Felix conducted the fugitives through France to Lyons and across Mont Cenis to Leghorn, where the merchant had decided to wait a favorable opportunity of passing into some part of the Turkish dominions. Safie resolved to remain with her father until the moment of his departure, before which time the Turk renewed his promise that she should be united to his deliverer, and Felix remained with them in expectation of that event. And in the meantime, he enjoyed the society of the Arabian, who exhibited towards him the simplest and tenderest affection. That's sweet. They conversed with one another through the means of an interpreter, and sometimes with the interpretation of looks, and Safie sang to him the divine airs of her native country. The Turk allowed this intimacy to take place and encouraged the hopes of the youthful lovers, while in his heart he had formed far other plans. He loathed the idea that his daughter should be united to a Christian, but he feared the resentment of Felix if he should appear lukewarm, for he knew that he was still in the power of his deliverer if he should choose to betray him to the Italian state which they inhabited. He revolved 1,000 plans by which he should be enabled to prolong the deceit until it might be no longer necessary, and secretly to take his daughter with him when he departed. His plans were facilitated by the news which arrived from Paris. So he's trying to like put things off and hopefully like not have his daughter marry Felix after all because he's a Christian and he doesn't like them. Oh my God, it's really upsetting. It's really, really upsetting. Chip's comparing me to the Unabomber. I'm not on board.
I'm not comparing you to the Unabomber. I'm comparing your crazy eyes to the Unabomber's kind of crazy eyes.
The government of France were greatly enraged at the escape of their victim and spared no pains to detect and punish his deliverer. The plot of Felix was quickly discovered, and De Lacy and Agatha, the sister, were thrown into prison. Oh no. The news reached Felix and roused him from his dream of pleasure. His blind and aged father and his gentle sister lay in a noisy, I guess, dungeon. I've never heard that. I mean, when reading this book, I've never heard noisome. While he enjoyed the free air and the society of her whom he loved. This idea was torture to him. He quickly arranged with the Turks that if the latter should find a favorable opportunity for escape before Felix could return to Italy, Safie should remain as a boarder at a convent in Leghorn, and then quitting the lovely, like living there.
Oh, okay, just boarding.
Yeah. Quitting the lovely Arabian, he hastened to Paris and delivered himself up to the vengeance of the law, hoping to free De Lacy and Agatha by this proceeding. Felix sounds kind of awesome, I'm not gonna lie. He did not succeed. They remained confined.
And it was Felix's dad that was in.
It was Safie's dad, like Felix's future father-in-law.
Oh, okay.
But then, yeah, when he was like, "Oh, if you help me break out," Safie. Yeah, it's a Turkish name apparently. He was like, "If you help me break out, I will let you marry my beautiful daughter." And then once he was actually out, he was like, "Oh, actually, I'd rather not because you're a Christian. We're not, and I don't like that." They remained confined for 5 months before the trial took place, the result of which deprived them of their fortune and condemned them to a perpetual exile from their native
Oh, if he
country.
did that to me, I snitched so fast.
I'd be mad. Yeah, I know,
so
right?
fast. Back to prison, bucko.
I know, right? Yeah, okay, we're good. We have time. We have time to finish.
I go full like 6'9" mode on them.
You seem familiar. I think you were recently you were recently supposed to be executed.
You were on the agenda for 2 weeks ago, weren't you?
They found a miserable asylum, not like a nut
Insane
house,
asylum.
yeah, but like a sanctuary.
Okay.
In the cottage in Germany where I discovered them. All right, so we're back to the place, back to the hovel. Felix soon learned that the treacherous Turk, for whom he and his family endured such unheard of oppression, on discovering that his deliverer was thus reduced to poverty and ruin, became a traitor to good feeling and honor, and had quitted Italy with his daughter, insultingly sending Felix a pittance of money to aid him, as he said, in some plan of future maintenance. I guess just not a lot of money. Such were the events that preyed on the heart of Felix and rendered him, when I first saw him, the most miserable of his family. He could have endured poverty, and while this distress had been the meed of his virtue, he gloried in it. But the ingratitude of the Turk and the loss of his beloved Safie were misfortunes more bitter and irreparable. The arrival of the Arabian, Safie, now infused new life into his soul. When the news
She
reached...
doesn't want anything to do. So why does
No, she does. She
Oh.
didn't at first, but then
Oh,
she
okay.
came to really like him
Okay.
and was very tender towards him. She wasn't Christian, like,
She
because
became a
they're
Christian.
Turkish. And so I guess I don't know what people in Turkey tend to be, but they didn't want her to marry him because he was a Christian, but they loved each other, or at least liked each other. Very sweet. Interreligious marriage. When the news reached Leghorn that Felix was deprived of his wealth and rank, the merchant commanded his daughter to think no more of her lover, but to prepare to return to her native country. The generous nature of Safie was outraged by this command. She attempted to expostulate with her father, but he left her angrily, reiterating his tyrannical mandate. A few days after, the Turk entered his daughter's apartment and told her hastily that he had reason to believe that his residence at Leghorn had been divulged, and that he should speedily be delivered up to the French government. He had consequently hired a vessel to convey him to Constantinople, for which city he should sail in a few hours. He intended to leave his daughter under the care of a confidential servant to follow her at her leisure with the greater part of his property, which had not yet arrived at Leghorn.
Unrelated, but English.
I have 2 paragraphs left. When alone, Safie resolved in her own mind the plan of conduct that would become her to pursue in this emergency. A residence in Turkey was abhorrent to her. Her religion and her feelings were alike adverse to it, of course, because she was going to have to become a prostitute. By some papers of her father which fell into her hands, she heard of the exile of her lover and learned the name of the spot where he then resided. She hesitated some time, but at length she formed her determination. Taking with her some jewels that belonged to her and a sum of money, she quitted Italy with an attendant, a native of Leghorn, but who understood the common language of Turkey, and departed for Germany. She arrived fast as I can.
Go.
Hang on. She arrived in safety at a town about 20 leagues from the College of DeLacy when her attendant fell dangerously ill. Safie nursed her with the most devoted affection, but the poor girl died, and the Arabian was left alone, unacquainted with the language of the country, and utterly ignorant of the customs of the world. She fell, however, into good hands. The Italian had mentioned the name of the spot for which they were bound, and after her death, the woman of the house in which they had lived took care that Safie should arrive in safety at the cottage of her lover. Pretty fast, right?
So, okay, English question.
Yes, English
Isn't
question.
related to the story, but is related to.
I know, yeah, I don't know if y'all could hear Nate, but he was like, I want you to read that as fast as you can. And so I did,
So,
or at least as fast as I could without
why were there like no happy ending stories up until like Disney World?
That's true, I am, but I've actually had this conversation a few times in the
But, like,
past.
In the time of Shakespeare, it was like, it's gonna make you want to cry, or it's a stupid joke.
That's very true.
So why was there no like just a enjoyable story? And when did that?
It's
start
not that there's not any, but the
Troy is gonna
ones that
kill you.
he is freaking me right out. The ones that tend
You
to
look like because
laugh.
he thinks
Yes.
like.
The ones that tend to last and tend to be studied are for some reason really upsetting or depressing. And like I've had classes before be like, man, are we gonna ever read something where nobody dies? And but like the thing is, there just aren't that many options that are like
so why
in the canon, like the group of books that we
why were there so
study.
like I mean did they because I was given the impression by an old English teacher that there were almost no happy ending stories in the time.
Well, I don't think that's true. Because he has just as many comedies as he does tragedies.
Well, but the comedies, it's not like a.
Not
It
funny,
can't-
it's dry.
It is dry. You're right.
The
And
comedies are good.
comedy only actually means, like in dramatic terms, comedy only means that people don't die at the end. In tragedies, people do. It doesn't necessarily mean like it's hilarious. It's not like Dave Chappelle doing Shakespeare, but although I'd pay to
Oh my
see that.
goodness.
There are some movies where comedies will die.
Yeah.
Okay, so the comedy, so yeah, because I haven't read any Shakespearean comedies. So I don't know what they entail, because I thought that they were like funny
Yeah.
comedy jokes.
I mean, like they are funny comedy jokes for like Shakespeare time. I don't know. We would necessarily find them all that funny. Although, like
Do have
some of it, like
Shakespeare's
Shakespeare
pretty funny.
loved
Shakespeare's pretty funny.
he loved a joke about genitalia.
Those are fun.
He loved them. He wrote
Once
the
a
original
12-year-old
Your
boy,
Mom
always a
joke.
12-year-old boy.
Yeah. Bill and I have done my mother. It's the first Your Mom joke. And Shakespeare wrote it. I forgot which play it's in. Actually, I think the next thing that we're gonna read is it's not a Shakespearean comedy, but it's a play and it's a comedy.
Can we read more Shakespeare? Because he's awesome.
Well, we're past him now, but maybe at the end of the year, if we have time, we
Read some,
could.
can we just read like?
Did you guys read?
Can we just read like a gushy love Shakespeare story? Because I really like a gushy love
Do you?
Shakespeare story. Yeah.
Did you guys read any Shakespeare with Mr. Casey last year?
Who?
Mr. Casey? No, because y'all were in, yes, y'all are in English 3, which is American Lit, so you would not know. What Shakespeare did y'all read with Mr. Johnson?
Okay, so-
We read one book out of that whole school year.
Really?
We did not. We read one book. Animal Farm, it's over here.
I haven't read Animal Farm. I was able to avoid that one.
What? Oh, Sherlock Holmes, Hound of the Baskervilles, that's right.
Oh, he.
And y'all read,
And-
I know you read 1984. You did, because he said that he regretted it. He was like, they did not like 1984. I wouldn't teach it again to this group, which like I think that's totally fair. What was the fourth thing that y'all read? There is a fourth thing.
Mr. Casey.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
stop.
so I wanted to punch it.
Oh my gosh, I didn't want to punch Casey, but I wanted to punch the English book. Because I like Casey.
What did y'all do for transcendentalism? Do you remember? Walden, self-reliance. I'm just gonna
Wordy words.
okay for
Talk about like a boring person.
where is
Too.
that?
What was that guy's name?
Who?
The guy who,
Oh, Henry David Thoreau.
yeah. Oh my gosh.
Actually, though, you'll find this interesting. There's a show now on Apple TV, and I don't have Apple TV, so I haven't been able to watch it. But it's called, I think it's called Dickinson, after Emily Dickinson. And John Mulaney plays Henry David Thoreau, and I saw a clip of it, and it was amazing. He just got out, just like last week. Yeah, but they say he's doing well. All right, I gotta let you guys
I
go.
heard he was supposed to get out in February, but I didn't know if he actually did get out.